Yeah, yeah, yeah! We got the A-list. It's no Stephen Ado. It's Chris Canty, the resident Super Bowl champ. And this A-list is fluid. It's fluid. We've got the top 5 quarterbacks on the move this offseason. In any given time, a quarter of the league needs a new quarterback. So we're going to be talking about signal callers that are going to be old faces in new places this offseason. Let's get this list kicked off with number 5. We got Tua, leaving Miami. Now, the question with Tua is going to become how much of the base salary are the Miami Dolphins willing to eat? It's already guaranteed the $39 million. Are they going to eat a portion of it in order to facilitate another team trading for him? Or are they going to go ahead and outright cut him and take a $99 million dead cap hit? It's going to be fascinating to see how the Miami Dolphins try to work it. But either way, you're talking about another team getting a quarterback on the cheap that 3 years ago led the league in passing yards, 2 years ago led the league in completion percentage, and a guy who's been knocked for his injury history over the last 3 seasons. He's only missed time for injury in one of those years. So Tua checking in at number 5. Number 4, we got, bam, Mac Jones. 5-3 as a starter in San Francisco this year. He stepped in and played good ball for the 49ers, giving them an opportunity to tread water until Brock Purdy got healthy and get back. Mac Jones finished top 10 in QBR for the San Francisco 49ers. Listen, Mac Jones is not going to be the reason why you win a championship, but Mac Jones can play well enough where your team has an opportunity to do it. He could be the next version of Sam Darnold. He could be in 2026 what Sam Darnold was in 2025. Next, Daniel Jones. Now, injuries are always a part of this story. He's coming off of a season-ending Achilles injury. 7 years in the league, only had 1 season where he was fully healthy. Remember, in New York, he had neck and knee injuries where he missed significant portions of time. It's curious to see what happens with the transition tag and how they work it out, whether a long-term deal or it ends up being a situation where another team swoops in. I think the value for Daniel Jones with the Colts outpaces the value for the rest of the league. I think he's best served staying there, but Daniel Jones, if nothing else, is a capitalist. Next, Kyler Murray. This is another one of those unique situations where the Arizona Cardinals are on the hook for $39 million to this player this year. And so we know that Kyler Murray has a tremendous amount of talent. He was the number 1 overall pick once upon a time. He's got 87 career starts, and he's 29 years old. He's versatile. He's dynamic. The only question is his commitment. Is he going to prepare? Is he going to study? I think Kyler Murray going into a situation where there's a lot of structure, where there's leadership in the locker room already in place, if he can just go in and play quarterback and not have to be a face of the franchise, you could be talking about Kyler Murray helping a team raise the floor from where they're at currently with their quarterback room. But there can only be one number 1, and that would be this man, Malik Willis. Too many people are judging him on the 3 career starts that he had with the Tennessee Titans, but he got with the functional franchise in the Green Bay Packers over the last 2 years, and this guy is 2-1 as a starter. He's got 9 total touchdowns to only 1 pick. Malik Willis has the movement skills that you would look for in a quarterback in this era of the sport. I think having some of that Matt LaFleur magic rub off on him is going to serve him well in terms of being the guy that a lot of teams with quarterback questions circle as their priority this offseason. So there it is, my A-list, top 5 quarterbacks on the move. We got Malik Willis, we got Kyler Murray, we got Daniel Jones, we got Mac Jones, and we got Tua.
Really quick, some housekeeping before we get to the grading of the list. There is one more to add here because the Raiders are releasing Geno Smith. So there is one more quarterback that seemingly will be on the move. I don't think he'd impact this list. But nonetheless, our thoughts here on Canty's A-list. What do you think, Mike T?
I'd say like a B, maybe B minus, and let me tell you why. Mac Jones is going nowhere. You made a great point. He was 5-3 as a starter. If the 4 of us were running the San Francisco 49ers, we love Brock Purdy. We don't love his durability. Mac Jones is under contract. You're going nowhere. Geno Smith getting released is really interesting to me, guys. A little bit off topic, but if we're drafting Fernando Mendoza, we're not playing Fernando Mendoza. And Geno Smith, to me, was under contract, great bridge quarterback. But I like Malik Willis, Chris. I think that was a great number 1 because his upside is very intriguing to me. What did we learn this past year? Quarterback development's never in a straight line.
I think the producers handed you a lot of lemons with this list. And I think you did a good job making lemonade. Overall, I think this is a pretty good job. I'd make a couple switches. I'd flip these two. What interests me about Kyler Murray is the idea that his entire career, and I know he said recently he faced adversity, he didn't. He was undefeated in his high school career at Allen High in Texas. It was fantastic. Went to college at Oklahoma, wins a Heisman Trophy. Number 1 overall pick, number 9 overall pick in Major League Baseball to the Oakland A's. And then he goes to Arizona. That's the first big failure of his career.
Yep.
His entire football career, his biggest failure was in Arizona because they never got anything going. I wonder what that does to him if he gets another opportunity. That's where I'd be looking to buy. Willis, I'd drop down. I like where you're at. I wonder if our view of Willis is a little skewed because we look at him as a backup. He steps into a tight spot. Normally, we expect backups to play poorly. He played
well
pretty
against the
well.
Bears, yeah.
And now all of a sudden, I think we may overrate him just a bit. But by and large, the big man did a job well done. Okay. Job well done.
The Daniel Jones, just because he's coming off the Achilles, is that why he's in the middle there?
Well, I mean, he's coming off of Achilles, but again, 7 years in the NFL, only 1 full season healthy as a pro. And Daniel Jones has always commanded top dollars. I feel like he's the new age Kirk Cousins in that way. So really, when it comes to the value, the cost-benefit analysis, that's why I have Daniel Jones third on the list. He's going to get paid.
There's a little UVA Duke residue there. That's right. Yeah.
Well, see, here's a deeper dive. Daniel Jones, same high school as yours truly.
Oh, interesting.
So, I
a bit of a swerve
I root for Daniel Jones now.
Yeah.
I root for Daniel Jones.
That's true. Mac Jones is intriguing to me. Tua, I don't know what to do with Tua.
You do nothing. You do nothing. You don't know that. This is avoid at all costs, no matter what team you are. Your situation in Miami couldn't have been better. You had all the weapons. You had the offense. You have a media that doesn't come at you at all.
Yeah,
and it didn't work out. It did not work out at all.
Let me push back on that. You know, over 60 quarterbacks saw a game last year. We're sitting here, the 4 of us in November. Surprise quarterback helping a team could be him. He has good upside.
Yeah, he has good upside, but I mean, there was a point we remember the Dolphins tank for Tua, and now we're like,
Sure.
Beat nobody ever. Never won a game. Never won a game that mattered.
But this guy is only going to cost you $1 million when you bring him on your team.
Yeah, it's a low,
that matters.
Low risk,
That matters.
potentially high
That matters.
risk. Let's move on to Aaron Rodgers. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but Aaron Rodgers is undecided on his football future. Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show earlier this week and said he has had conversations with the Steelers about his future, but has no timeline on when he will decide whether he returns to the Steelers or not. Now, to be fair, he did also say that he has not been offered a contract yet. There's been no further conversations with the Steelers, but he has not said whether he's going to come back next year or not. Are the Steelers better off without Aaron Rodgers, though?
No, I don't think they're better off without Aaron Rodgers, and I can't believe I'm at the place of saying this about a guy that's soon to be 43 years old, but I do think Aaron Rodgers in 2026 is the best option for the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of their Week 1 starter. Now, could they potentially bring in a developmental prospect at the position in this offseason, either via free agency or the draft? Sure, but selfishly, as a football fan, I would like to see the Mike McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers reunion with the Pittsburgh Steelers, an organization that has clearly told us that they are committed to trying to compete now, but also being able to plan for the future and developing a quarterback option long term. So I like Aaron Rodgers being back with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the deficiencies on this team became clear in terms of what they need. Wide receivers that can win earlier in the down so Aaron Rodgers can get the ball out of his hands quicker to avoid being exploited with the deficiencies on the offensive line up front. I think those are the areas that they need to address. But I like Aaron Rodgers coming in and offering the Pittsburgh Steelers some semblance of stability year over year at the quarterback spot.
Chris, I see it differently, and let me tell you guys a story. Back in 2009, we hired Rex Ryan to be our head coach. You guys know who Rex is?
Yeah, we know.
Heard of him.
He bloviates from time to time.
Yeah.
And we had Brett Favre under contract, ironically, and we felt organizationally it was the appropriate time for a reset. I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the all-time great first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he had a great career. But if we're trying to establish Mike McCarthy and we're trying to transition into a new era, again, as you mentioned, Chris, he's going to be 43 in December. You go back a year ago, they were 18th in points scored. This is a team that needs a transformational reset. Mike Tomlin did a great job, but now this roster is aging. I would go with Will Howard, 6th-round pick last year. Maybe go sign a guy like Geno Smith, who's a great bridge quarterback. He just got released. And then look at the draft, and you look at that group of guys from Drew Aller, Garrett Nussmeier, somewhere in that middle group of third rounders, probably not Ty Simpson this year, and just keep going until you hit on a guy. I just think at this point, even though Aaron Rodgers is probably going to play best on opening day, there's a great expression to me that applies here is he's going to stop progress. And I'm not saying that Will Howard's going to be this great 6th-round pick, but you have to go find the next one, and we're in year 1 of Mike McCarthy.
It's surprising to me how accepting of mediocrity Pittsburgh has been post-Ben Roethlisberger. Like, they have been so poor with their planning. They've been all over the map. One minute, it's we're going to go with a younger guy. We'll try to develop Kenny Pickett. The next minute, that doesn't work out, so we're going to go with a veteran. The next minute, that doesn't work out. We'll go with an aging veteran and try to wring the most out of him. At no point have they been that good of a football team. They've been good, maybe above average, and Tomlin could coach the heck out of them, but they haven't been a Super Bowl contender, like a legit Super Bowl contender in a loaded conference that's featured Mahomes and Jackson and Allen and Burrow and anyone else who rises up. And yet, the amount of years Pittsburgh has squandered post-Roethlisberger because they just haven't figured out it's okay to take a step back in order to take 3 steps forward. That's the thing. Stop winning 8, 9, 10 games. Go out and bottom out. It's all right. You're not going to do anything. It's not accepting of losing. It's not going to hurt your culture.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to do it.
Then they can keep getting this result. They've been so accepting of mediocrity. You're right. They won't go do that. And they'll win 9 games this year, and then they will be right back having a conversation. Hey, maybe they can go get Kirk Cousins. Maybe Kirk Cousins can help them for a year as they continue to bridge this gap between not winning Super Bowls and not winning Super Bowls.
Yeah, they stay on the treadmill of mediocrity, and it's because they won't operate in the extremes. Either you fork over the draft capital that it takes to get a franchise quarterback, which means moving up in the draft or trading for one, or you end up bottoming out, like you said, Joe, tanking and hoping that the incoming draft class is quarterback rich. But it's one of the 2 philosophies. I don't necessarily think that they've got a tank in order to get good. You see that with the Los Angeles Rams.
Kansas City traded up for Mahomes.
The Rams went a decade without making a first-round draft pick and played in 2 Super Bowls during that span. You just mentioned the Kansas City Chiefs moving up from 29-10 to take Patrick Mahomes in 2017. The Pittsburgh Steelers have done neither one of those things. And I guess my point in saying that Aaron Rodgers is the best option is me acknowledging that the Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to tank. Because if you were, you would move on from Cam Hayward. If you were, you would move on from T.J. Watt. You will move on from players on your roster that have value around the league to stockpile draft picks in order to reset. They're not doing that.
Right. But here's what applies is if you have a Will Howard, he's going to get better as the season goes along. If you have Aaron Rodgers, he's going to get older. And at 43, the odds are overwhelming that he's not going to be the same guy in December that he is in September. I agree, they're getting old on defense, but to me, this is about what is best for the quarterback position for the next 3 to 5 years. And as much as I think Aaron Rodgers has had a great career, I think it's over, and I would move on.
See, I just feel like he's lingering because he's going to come back. I mean, what do they have till March 11th, right, before free agency opens up? Well, if he's still undecided, are they going to get a quarterback? Are they not? Remember we did this last year with the draft? It feels like rinse and repeat from a year ago.